second driver. So we do.
The drivers. Those are the drivers. He's talking about the drivers. Are you looking at 7,000?
Yes.
Yeah, those are the driver salaries, not necessarily the vehicle maintenance.
Gas, well, gas and maintenance.
For the 7,000?
Yeah, the drivers.
Senior vehicle expenses, $7,000.
Drivers come out of senior expenses.
Senior vehicle expenses is the drivers?
Nope. Drivers come out of senior expenses, vehicle maintenance, and vehicle gas come out of vehicle expenses.
So my point to you is, you're planning on having 2 brand new vehicles, and you're more than doubling your budget for maintenance on those vehicles.
Maintenance and fuel.
It's the gas and the
Right.
diesel, right?
Right.
Because you're
But
going
we
to
have
do
two
two
vehicles.
vehicles
But
more
But they're
frequently.
not 2 vehicles.
Well, no, we
supposed to be
have 2 vehicles, we run one at a time.
Because you only have one driver.
Correct.
Okay.
Now we're going up to 2 drivers, so it's more gas. But, like I said, we've already exceeded our maintenance for this year. We exceeded that
Because the
maintenance.
vehicles are junk,
Yes, but also,
which you're not going to have next year, hopefully, you'll have brand new vehicles.
Correct,
Which
correct.
you have, technically, less maintenance problems.
in theory, but a new set of tires could be $1,000 right off the bat.
You run a set of tires in a year, we have a problem.
Right, we don't, but I'm just saying, it could be, all right.
Essentially, you're going from operating one vehicle, one driver right now, to going to operate 2 vehicles, 2 drivers.
That's taking out
What
staff
is
expenses.
kind of confusing is fuel is in one category and paying for this person is in another category,
True.
and that's what's kind of creating some confusion. I understand what Sean is saying. If we got a new vehicle, our maintenance expenses shouldn't be double.
Right.
Right.
But you're now running 2 vehicles.
And you were budgeted for 2 vehicles last year, so your number should stay close to the same.
We were budgeted to have 1 vehicle operate at a time. We had 2 vehicles.
One was sitting idle, one was driving around. If you swap them out and take the van and use the car there. Right now, what we're proposing is to have a van and a car going, if needed, at the same day. Same day.
Right, so, and I also wanted to point out, 1 trip to the mechanic can be a couple $100, if not $1,000. I understand that's a new vehicle, but you can't predict what's going to happen, so.
I got a truck that's 2 years old, all it's ever been in for oil change.
Right.
So I'm seriously hoping that's what we'll expect out of your vehicles.
Right, but for example, we have probably 6 oil changes per vehicle a year.
Yeah.
So, $100 a pop, you're already a couple $1,000 right there.
But you're paying for that as well, yeah, because you have 2 vehicles already.
They have 2, but they're only operating 1.
Correct.
It's more gas.
Right, it's more gas.
It's not the maintenance because they're new vehicles. There's not going to be any maintenance of it. It's going to be the gas.
Right, and again, honestly, that number from last year probably wasn't accurate. Like I said, we blew through that in the first couple of months.
Well, you've had major repairs.
Yes, but still, we blew through it. So.
Okay.
I think your budget needs some trimming.
Okay. All right, so we were senior vehicle expense. Yes, we talked about this one. So, this also needs to be edited. Kelly and I spoke earlier today. The new proposed number is,
Which line items for that?
Swimming pool lifeguard.
pool expenses, so it should be $80,880.14.
Swimming pool. The
Swimming
swimming
pool and
pool
lifeguard.
expense.
Yep.
We're trying to include the full cost because at the last year's budget, we were talking about the receivable account, which we don't want to do. So we're going to show you the full cost of swimming and revenue on the other side.
Correct.
Full cost currently, what you're planning on going with is what?
80,000,
Yep. $80,880.14. Pool contracts, that is staying the same. Park and field maintenance, that is also staying the same. Facilities, that is staying the same. Recreation contracts, that's a slight increase. That includes our recreation software, our pest control contract, our P3 technologies contract, there are firewall, and also when Kyle's out, there are IT support. So those just various contracts are, slight increases. Senior expenses, that is a slight increase. That's purely just senior employee salaries. So they're all receiving a 3% increase. And supplies and expenses, again, just marginal expenses for general summer camp expenses, recreation, programs like after-school programs, so all of those supplies, all those things that we purchase for recreation programs or even senior programs come out of that line item. So that's just a slight increase to reflect more expensive.
That's $58,000 for that line item?
Yep.
Should that be coming out of your special account?
It's to be determined what's happening with that account. But I would agree, yes, I would love to have it come out of that account.
Or you turn us that money back over and then we can give it to you this way?
I have a question.
Yeah.
On your presentation, you listed a number of places where you actually have people that are employees that work for the rec department.
Correct.
So you have the department head, the pool coordinator, the rec assistant, then you have summer camp salaries. All right. Then you have a rec coordinator, and you have a custodian, and then you have a driver or two, and then you have senior expenses, there's employees there. So how many people are we talking about?
Including part-time, we have about 40 staff.
How about full-time?
Full-time, we have, let's see, myself, Matt, John, and Casey, so 4.
You have 4 full-time employees?
Correct.
36 part-time?
Roughly, it fluctuates.
The summer rec.
Are any of these employees in the rec department union?
No. No.
You said the recreation assistant's a new position?
The title should be changed to Assistant Recreation Director. So the individual that retired back in October was a recreation assistant. When she retired, the position was changed to Assistant Director.
So what does the assistant recreation director, the pool coordinator, and the recreation program director, what do they do?
That's a big question. Okay, so an assistant director, so for example, I've been out on paternity leave for the last 6 to 8 weeks. During that time, he filled in, so he assumed my responsibilities essentially. Now that I'm back, he will be assisting the program coordinator with developing programs. He'll also be assisting with personnel, running the facilities, scheduling the facilities. So as has been pointed out, there's about $3 million in grants. I'd say at least half of that is recreation, so a lot of my time is spent on the grant aspect. So he's able to help with the program development, the marketing, and then kind of the execution of it. So that's assistant director. Program coordinator, she essentially is responsible for developing programs, implementing them, and then also in many cases running them. So, for example, during the summer, she's at summer. She, starts planning summer camp from January 1st, and then she's at summer camp every single day. She assists with interviewing the staff, training them. She's also our head lifeguard's 25 hours a week as a lifeguard, and water aerobics instructor, swim instructor. She's about 10 to 15. So she schedules the lifeguards, she schedules the other water aerobics instructors. Yes, so I think those were the 3 positions. So,
Besides watching the grants or giving that stuff out, what do you?
I do, okay.
It sounds like the assistant does the work.
So, that's, I would disagree with that. So,
Well, that's what you said. He's coordinating with all these people, you pay for it, or assist the grant writer.
right, so I am responsible for hiring and managing all personnel. So anytime there's, yes, I have coordinators that assist with the managing, but anytime someone needs to be hired, fired, anytime there's conflicts, also, like I said, I oversee the senior center. So that's a whole other, aspect to the job where we don't have a full-time person at the senior center. So anytime there's an issue with the senior center, that's me. We also oversee the transportation program. So it's doing the budget, it's doing personnel, it's doing facility maintenance, it's doing programming, community events. I don't know, the list goes on. The pool, I guess, is that enough?
I don't know.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who coordinates the pool schedule? I know there's like aerobics and swim lessons and open swim, but does Casey do that or do you do that?
Yeah, so Casey essentially, so we have, Casey is essentially equivalent to a program coordinator. So Casey does the aquatics programs, Amber does the recreation programs. So yes, she schedules the water aerobics instructor, she schedules the lifeguard as well.
So is she the one that determines when the pool is closed, open, available, not available? I mean, I look at your, I'm a big, I love the pool.
Right.
There's a lot of seniors that are in that pool. But it seems that like the price has been fluctuating, the hours have been fluctuating. And then, but when I look, it seems like the aerobics programs, like there's a lot of empty time in there that there could be more utilization.
Right, okay, so.
And I was just wondering, who's
Right.
responsible for that?
Sure.
That's my question.
Right, so our prices have remained essentially the same. The only price that fluctuates is the water aerobics price, and that's based on the number of classes that are held that season. Our pool admission, whether it be punch passes, memberships, or walk-in admission, have remained the same for many years. The only time our pool schedule changes, which I agree 100%, unfortunately it has been changing a lot over the last 6 to 8 months, is when we don't have staff available. So for quite a while, for at least, I can only speak to the years I've been here, but for the first 2 years we were here, we were extremely fortunate, and we had part-time staff that were able to fill the holes that she wasn't there. Now that those part-time staff have left, that's where you're seeing, okay, reduced hours on Wednesdays, reduced hours on certain evenings, or reduced water aerobics classes. So, yes, that's where, it's a joint effort to come up with a schedule. In terms of downtime, so in my previous experience, I worked for a pool that was open from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day. It seems like that's the best, but your operating costs are through the roof because everything is operating for 18 hours a day. When I came here, I was actually shocked to find out how efficient this pool is run. So, yes, we can certainly look into adding a couple, an hour here, an hour there, but in general, this pool, the hours that we have are extremely efficient. And if we had more demand for, a perfect example is I agree that you would think Friday evenings would be, a popular time for, kids and teens and all that stuff. In the 3 years I've been here, we've never had a single person ask for a Friday evening time. So can certainly try that. That would probably be the first time that I try. But I will say that this pool is extremely efficient. And you'll see that in the expenses. So yes, we're asking for 80,000, but we're also bringing in 80,000. So you almost nowhere will you find a pool that is 100%. Right.
Any other questions?
Well, I just want a little clarification. The 80,000 you said you're spending and bringing in, that doesn't include salaries, does it?
It includes the part-time salary, so it does not include Casey's salary.
So are we exceeding,
Well,
or are we?
it depends on the year. So our revenue has fluctuated the last couple of years. So, for example, last year we brought in about 120,000. So in that case, it would have been very close to 100%. You had mentioned that you think our budget should be trimmed. Do you have suggestions?
Well, your budget is not even true anymore, because you told me there's $7,500 here that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm curious how much the rec department's used, utilization. I mean, are the residents getting their bang for their buck? $500,000. Do we get enough usage out of the residents for $500,000 worth of investment?
So I can tell you that we have approximately 500 active, it's not 500, 5,000 active account members, and I'd say about 2,000 active accounts. So that's 2,000 households, if you will. I don't have the program numbers, but we offer well over 100 programs a year. We offer community events that have been incredibly successful. I would also mention that we're not just recreation, we're a senior, so the senior transportation program is incredibly vital to the seniors in town that need that transportation program to go to dialysis, to go to their dentist appointments, to go to just a grocery store, Big Y, so that they can get their food. There's many seniors in town that don't have transportation, but still live at home. Again, our pool is included in that $500,000, so that's 125,000 roughly right there. Again, you can see on any given day that there's 25, 50 users using that. Actually, sorry, that's just when we have free swim. On any given day at a water aerobics class, you can find 30 or so residents, even non-residents, using our pool. And then, from the recreation component to it, you have 8 weeks of summer concerts that average about 400 participants, or 400 attendees. That's grown significantly in the 3 years I've been here. Summer camp, we have over 200 camp attendees. Those parents, those families rely on that. It's childcare. Yes, it's summer camp. Yes, it's fun. But at the end of the day, it's childcare. So it is absolutely essential. And then also, like I said, our mentoring program, our after-school programs, yes, those are fun, but they're childcare as well. And then I haven't even mentioned adult fitness classes. So we have line dancing that has, I'd say, 60 to 75 participants every single week. We have our kickboxing classes that average 15 participants. We have yoga. We have any number of programs.
Where's the line dancing held?
At the recreation center.
You got a room big enough for all that, for those people?
It's 4 classes. So we offer line dancing 3 times a week, 4 classes. That's how popular. So we have 2 beginner classes, 1 intermediate, 1 advanced.
I don't want to keep you at the mic all night.
That's all right.
So, and you've answered a lot of questions, not all of them have been easy, so I appreciate it. One thing you could do for me, and kind of as a follow-up to what Sean said, maybe what we as a board need to know is everything.
Sure.
That I didn't know about kickboxing.
Yeah.
Not that I I'd be interested, I think it's fascinating that you supply that. Also, you talked about the senior center and your involvement there in providing transportation. We may have seniors in town that don't even know that that service is available.
Right.
So I appreciate all the time and effort that you put into preparing this. I realize that there are some things that might need to be adjusted because of whatever reason. But thank you.
Yeah. If I could, just
And
one last thing.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. If I could, just one last thing. I encourage all of you to compare our budget to surrounding municipalities. Like I said, other municipalities, senior center, park maintenance, recreation are often 3 different budgets. So, ours is just rolled into one. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Highway Department.
Oh, we didn't get, so we try to write it down.
Supervisor is not able to make it tonight, he has an issue with his home, so he did email me about that, so I can see if I can do to answer all the questions you may have. The highway department, and note that they were very careful with what they did with their budget. There were some reductions because we watched the past history over the past couple of years. That's why you'll see a reduction there for things refuse disposal. You'll see a small increase for the vehicle expenses as the prices for items are going up, so he did ask for a small increase there. And reduction in supplies and expenses because they've been very careful with what they've been buying. So that's why those numbers are changing. The rest of them are salaries. Those are the new people that are on to the board. Just a quick review. You got a supervisor. I think the salary says 10, but I think right now we're at 9.
9, yes.
We have, the mechanic is in the union contract. He's a mechanic for the police department, but he's been in the contract for the highway department union for many, many years. So those are the 2% that you see there. I'll do my best to answer any questions.
Are you okay with the 37 for fuel, you think?
Process right now of working with an engineer to make sure that we have the pad available for placement of that new tank. So whether we get the 6,000 gallon tank, we think we'll be doing a little bit of savings. I think it was mentioned that you had the police chief here last week, and he mentioned that as well. We anticipate that if we buy low, that we should be okay. So we'll fill that tank with the lowest we can for
What's
fuel.
the status of that? 'Cause I haven't-
Again, we're waiting for the engineer to give us an engineered pad, then we'll go out to put it in place, and then we can contact the company to come bring it up.
It's already been purchased?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been around.
And the unfortunate part is coming from, I believe, it's Texas. So they will do transport, and we'll have a crane up here for placement, and hook right up to the electricity we have currently.
Vehicle expenses, how many vehicles do they have?
Well, we're one short, as you'll see in the fund balance request. There's one of the plow trucks which is no longer in service because it's rusted through. So I can get you a full list, I can email it to you if you like.
I was just curious.
Yep.
Maybe it's
No, it's not. It might be in the back. I think he did give us a list, he might have done
It's in the
that.
back.
Yeah. So you want to have one for the police, and you also have one for the highway department.
I know the police one, so.
Yep.
Yeah, highway supplied one.
A lot of these items have no change from this.
Yep.
So do we anticipate just falling in line for this year's budget too?
Expenditures.
Any other questions regarding the highway department?
You won't have to go far for the next department.
All right.
All right, so I will present the selections budget to you. There are a few minor changes. There is one thing is to understand, if you take a look at the legal notices, it looks as though it went down. In reality, you've also worked with us to help for line item transfer because we were short on it this year. That's why now it looks like it's 15,000 for the current year, that's why it's amended. So in reality, we were going from 7,500, and we're looking to increase it to 1,250. That's what the original intent was, but we'll see the, obviously the amended budget portion is not there. So we're looking for supplies and expenses, as with all things, they are going up in cost. The other three are salaries, and we have those listed with a little more of a bump for the administrative assistant.
And that's a contractual.
No, she is, well, she's a non-union member, but we've been reviewing her salary over the past few years, and she needs to come up to, still not in line with other administrative assistants in the town,
Oh, even within our own town?
even with her own town. If you look at the police budget, that administrative assistant makes much more.
Supplies and expenses, Joe.
We anticipate the costs are going to go up on a few things, and we want to make sure we're covered.
How come you don't have anything down for computers? You don't need any?
It was an oversight on my part, but that should be in supplies and expenses as well. We do have two that I have, myself and administrative assistant. That's part of that jump.
Question, email that came out today, they talked about reduced computers to 59,502. Where is that? Where am I talking about?
That's in the back, like under general.
Under general?
Yeah, it's in
Okay.
the back. Yeah, it's under general town, like the fifth line down. So right now, we budget 76. Kyle gave me the sheet, it's 59.5 right now.
That includes a contract that we have currently with Protocol Network. It is my intention at this time, and we've reviewed this for a few years, my intention at this time to put that up to bid. I think it's only appropriate because it's a rather large number and it's shared between the police and the town. So I'd like to be able to get the understanding of going out to bid for that particular function. Along with some other changes in here as well. We might want to go over some of those right now. We do have an adjustment of the IT.
New IT.
Yeah. And I mentioned this before, it's tough to put together the budget for you when it changes on a daily basis. I was just informed the other day that Kyle is looking to retire. We had in this budget all along that he would stay for another year, and we wouldn't be adding an IT person. But now that he is going to retire, a quick change here to include that one item. So it does fluctuate on a regular basis, and I apologize for that, but it does.
Where would that IT person fall into the budget?
Current budget is Kyle.
It's Kyle.
Right.
It's Kyle.
But
So
there's
we'll be-
no department for it.
Right.
It's not, he was under building inspector salaries.
Correct.
Because that's how, I think it's worded in the union contract.
Right. The contract has a job description, believe it or not, that says he's a part-time building inspector / IT manager.
Can that be amended?
Well, we're going to amend it right now because he's going to retire. So I'm going to, in the contract, yes, absolutely. Because I told him when I first got elected in, I said, I know you're doing a great service for the town by doing a couple of functions, but when you retire, we're in a world of hurt because I have to look for a replacement for IT and possibly a replacement for building inspector. So it's come to that day now. So we're looking to do that, and so we should be, again, looking out, I think it's 110. We're looking for a full-time person to run for, to be a position for a town engineer. And I think we have another opportunity to do that. I think the number there was 120,000. I've searched towns around us, and there's a town right next door to us, it's 115. So we think we can get somebody, because it would save us so much money. Just to give you
Do you realize you have a line item for an IT director, which is 0, and then you have that top line item, which is new IT person,
It might have been added.
Yeah, it probably was, I see it right now, yeah, yeah. I will take that out. Because at that time Kyle was gonna retire, then he wasn't gonna retire, and now he's retiring, so I added it to that.
This is the third version of
It's
Kyle.
been the same month.
Oh, I'm actually going to sit down with him tomorrow and talk about getting something in writing. Just to show you how things change, I started my first version of this back in, well, January. I printed off the oldest one I could find for the fund balance. I think you should go through a couple of lines in the fund balance just to review. But what you have in your fund balance right now is the result of a few things. The first thing would be, we were at 20% in the last audit, and now we're about 17% reserve. We can't keep on taking from there. So I'm looking for ways to strip that back as much as I can. When I first started out, you had a highway mason truck, we talked about that before, where it's definitely needed to be replaced. So that was at $300,000. We're currently paying for the one that was budgeted for last year and voted and approved for $82,000.
So, back on the Mason,
Yes,
is it a town plow truck or is
Yes.
it a maintenance truck?
it's a town plow truck,
So it's a big international.
the big one.
winner.
That's why I got it for $300.
So can we change that from Mason truck to?
Whatever you want to word it.
Because when I see Mason truck, I'm thinking of a little pickup truck with a Mason body on it.
Yeah, that's how it was worded to me from the highway supervisor, so that's what we put.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a little.
But you know what it is now.
Not for $300,000.
It's not like a triaxle, is it? Like a
It's
triaxle?
the big one, big plow trucks that drive down.
It'd be a six-wheeler.
Six-wheeler.
It'd be a big six-wheeler.
Yep.
It's not a Mason dump.
All right.
But that's one truck for $300,000?
Yes, and a one-time purchase. Of course, this is going out to lease.
So that's, we're not gonna lease it.
But we need to buy it right away. We have to get it on the road.
But I thought when we leased it, we could divide it out for 2 years.
Free.
Good. Right now, I went out to lease for current year, purchase that we're going to do, and it's gonna be $82,000 next year. The interest was like 8%.
Okay.
When I've leased vehicles before, they've always been like 2 or 3%. So right now, obviously, the interest rates are high, so if you have the money, I don't know.
So for $300,000, we're getting the truck, plow, and a sander, all one package?
That's what he's trying to do.
And that's what we think the price is gonna be in that ballpark?
That's what we estimate.
Okay.
You saw the lease, the current one, I mentioned that, about the $82,000. Road construction. Initially, I had $300,000 in road construction. We do have enough money in other areas, we can actually cover that. To give you an idea, they did some projects in town this past year where you saw the cemetery road, those other roads in the back over there, and we took the payment in lieu of them doing the paving. As long as what they're doing in the patch is okay, we utilize that for other roads that we need to take care of. So that's an example. They have another project going on in town this year coming up in the back of the Sunnybrook area. And there's about 4 streets, one of yours right there. So we're going to take the payment in lieu of that's about 166, plus we have MSRA, we have, yeah. So there's other areas we can pull from and be able to take care of the paving for this year.
So now we're taking the money, we're allowing the contract to do a patch job, and we're taking the money to spend on other roads. Those patches aren't going to hold up very well, so we're replacing them again pretty quick.
Not pretty quick, a few years. It'll be part of rotation, but the patchwork that was done out here, did you see a problem with any of that?
Not yet.
I don't know.
We haven't had a hard winter either.
Did you know that the Blueberry Lane was redone because we weren't satisfied with what was done?
Okay.
So we have the right to say, no, it's not good, and have to do it over. Continue on, we initially had I think you heard this last meeting, the new SUV for the police officers. That was taken out, but it was in originally. The inclusion of the $38,000 for the police evidence shed. We had $51,000 for the truck. We had $300,000 for the Lions Park improvements. I took that out, and there's a reason why. I'll get to that in a minute. We had a part-time truck, a used truck for the maintenance for building and grounds, because we at the time thought we were going to hire on another person. So, because all the other things are coming online soon with all the parks. So we need that person this year because they're not done yet, they won't be done. So we took that truck out of there. But you'll see the other things are like $5,000 for the siding on the garage over here, and $1,000 for a weed trim. So we've modified a lot of things, and taken a lot of things out.
Why do we need a side of brand new building?
It would protect it for much longer with siding on it versus what you're seeing out there starting to gray already.
So we're gonna afford them back, so we're gonna side over that with something like vinyl or something, or we're gonna paint it?
Vinyl. Vinyl.
Wouldn't it have been cheaper to do it that way originally, or?
We would try to be very.
No, you still need the backer no matter what. So the rough lumber backer was cheaper than buying plywood. So that came out cheaper by doing it that way. Plus it was post and beam construction, so you had to do long boards. You couldn't do 4x8 sheets of plywood.
Trying to protect the investment, that's all.
Yeah, I understand what you're doing, but I mean, it just seems like, why are we doing it over again? We just did it, it's brand new.
Yeah, but it's, like it says, I know you said, I follow where you're coming from, but we didn't really step backwards. We actually we're just moving forward to make it better and last for it. Now, once you put the siding on there, it's going to be good for 25 years. Right now, if you just leave the board and pattern and paint it, you'd be painting it every other year, especially rough cut lumber. So you'd be getting rid of the labor cost and material by just spending the money now for the vinyl siding.
Are you leaving the boarding up and just moving it back and put the siding?
Exactly.
So you have it built-in backing to put it on.
Right, because you got all the boards there. Right, exactly. And it'll be good. That'd be a good nailer.
The purpose for the electric and HVAC for the evidence building, wasn't electric already figured in the original
Can't
bid?
answer that. I don't think it was in the video.
On the design building with no electricity. Especially HVAC, you don't need it for a garage.
Would it be possible to get them to consider just doing the electrical this year and put the HVAC off for that?
I can talk to him about it.
Isn't that a metal building?
Yeah, but it's supposed to be just a storage building.
Well, you heard last meeting, they talked about possibly putting in the lift.
Yeah, well, they've been saying that, and then they've been saying we're not gonna do that, then we're gonna do that, so we're tight this year. We're gonna be tight, we should be cutting a little bit, and if we save a little bit there and allow them to have someplace else, I'd be good with that, but we gotta figure out where we're gonna make some cuts here, because everybody's taxed already.
From my original items, I did make a lot of cuts, and you see that specifically in the fund balance. Because initially we were about over 1.2 million originally, and now we're down to 477. So again, I'm trying to do two things. I'm trying to make it so the budget passes. I'm also trying to make it so we don't continue to take out of the fund balance as best I can.
You're right, and we gotta stop taking out the fund balance, we're taking too much out of it, we're whack, but, I don't know. Okay.
It's
So
balanced.
that
Yeah.
building ended up being what, 250, 150K? From the original 100,000?
You're talking about the evidence building.
Yeah.
That's,
I think with the change orders, it'll be
That's
230.
a subject.
Yeah,
that we could-
And then this will be 258.
I know it was like 212. and
So 260.
Probably 240
260.
maybe, yeah.
Anyway, continue please.
Okay. I believe that what we're proposing as a budget, and first of all, I want to thank all the department heads who came here to speak today. It's not an easy thing to do, stand in front of a microphone, but you want to do it again, you said, right?
Absolutely.
It's not an easy thing to do,
That's on video.
and especially when you ask questions, not sure on that, I know at least two pickups. But you're also subcontracting out to do some of the smaller roads as well? Yeah.
I'm counting 7 big trucks, with plows, I would assume.
Yeah.
And then there's a Mason dump and then 3 pickups, so I'm assuming maybe, I don't know, there's 3 Mason dumps.
So you've got a section that
We got more trucks than we do drivers,
No, not for plowing.
not for
We get
plowing.
seasonal guys that come in. We'll have seasonal CDL guys.
Have you
They
ever
normally
noticed,
come in every season. There'll be like 2 or 3 that come in
if
and
you
help
ever,
out.
the Turnpike Fire Division put ads out there for that. We're looking for seasonal drivers for plowing.
It's usually the same returning guys.
On this original bond, there's under the section that says request for funding. Is any of this incorporated into the budget? Like you have day chemo healthcare?
Oh, I can answer that, yeah.
Okay, but also on the day chemo healthcare, I have 5 page 1s and no page 2.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. We can go through a couple of items real quick that haven't been spoken of, and basically that may be able to help you out. Working our way back up, we're talking about that debt interest, debt principal, and there are some items that are going to come off of that about a year and a half, maybe one of them.
Oh, the bonds?
Yeah, the bonds.
Yeah, they're listed on there, I think.
Yeah, and so that helps us so you understand when they're coming off. You've got the items there for capital expense, LoSiP coming in, town hall phones, revals, grants for, that's an MSRP one, MSRA, and town hall building repairs. The town stuff like the boards and commissions, we adjusted those because we thought that they were,
We couldn't find secretaries.
you can't find secretaries, so you have to bump them up from 75 to 100. And also the fact that on some of those, there was just too much going into their account, so it was unused, so I wanted to adjust some of those.
That will go to their account and back to the...
Oh yeah, they don't spend it, it goes right back to the general fund.
What happened with the Council of Governments?
NECOG, which one? There's two items there.
89% more.
Yep. We have a contract for first responder. Through them, we get a discount. But the problem was, we've been discounting for many, many years. Many years. And so they weren't getting the rates that there were when new contracts come out. So those numbers went way up. So.
Can you say that again?
Sure.
I'm told following.
We have an ambulance contract with NECOG.
With NECOG?
Yes.
It's for paramedics.
Okay. That's different than the the ambulance service?
Right, this is a paramedic service.
Paramedic and stuff?
Yep.
I didn't realize that ran through NECOG. Maybe something else.
Yeah, that's what we do. And they do the contract so we get a discount, and it's been undervalued for many years, and so now that they did a new contract, it went way up.
NECOG transportation?
That's our bus line that runs through the town. We have the 5 stops through NECOG. You see the bus coming through.
Yep.
How's the usage of that?
That's actually very good. So when we first started, it was a test and trial, and they said that the numbers from Plainfield were very, very good to the point where we're about a third of what all NECOG does, which is amazing. People utilize it quite often. It's $1 a ride. It has a handicapped accessible lift to it as well. It's called a...
So we don't need to see them yet?
That's in addition to. But they also, they connect up all the way through NECOG and also down to CCOG, because they take the final step from the Big Y and they'll drop you down to the other site down in Lisbon Landing. And that bus then for $1 can get you all the way down to the coastline. So it's a service that we allow to give opportunities for more people to utilize, and they do utilize it quite well.
You've got an increase there, that's where I was...
A small increase.
27%?
I don't have it.
Hang on, we'll use my...
Yep. Again, the first few years we're test and trial. Now that we're coming on board, the costs are going up anyway because they have the same problem we're all having, finding a van driver. So their rates for the van drivers went up, fuel went up, that's why they were looking at 27% increase.
That's contracted.
Yep.
How much out of that contingency, 299,850 is for your contract?
I couldn't give you the actual number. I can do the actual calculations for
You
you.
figured 2%, right?
Initially, yes. Some could be more.
No.
I know you guys had the meeting with the police. I know in that presentation shows how much their increase is in salaries. So the difference would be the town portion. I don't know what it is.
We have 4 union contracts going on right now: police, highway, town hall, and town hall supervisors. I'll also have negotiations with the chief and the deputy chief.
Anybody on the board representing us on those negotiations?
That would have to be approved by any of those unions.
The contingency, how much of that is going to be actually for salaries and how much is for contingency?
We just talked about that. We don't know at this
Can
point.
we break it
Yeah.
out somehow? So-
Yeah, I can email you guys.
Because my thought is if we're putting a contingency item, line item for salaries, if the contracts don't go the way they want and we keep some of that money, I don't want to just give it to you to spend. I want it back to us. I mean,
Something personal here? I mean, I can't spend it.
I'm looking to save money, I'm trying to save.
I
John,
understand.
we can do a line item transfer back to us.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to make this right.
Yep.
And I say you because you're the same.
I understand.
It's nothing personal.
Okay. And I don't anticipate taking any of that money for anything anyway, and it would stay there until the end of the year. We'll go back into the fund balance.
Any other questions?
And to your question you had about those area in the binder, we get requests from different groups all the time. So when you see a list there coming from TVCCA or from anybody, I keep a copy of it so you know that people ask all the time. And you know, we would love to accommodate, but then the only thing I think I've added in this year was a $500 to one group. A lot of these groups service us, and we don't give any money to them anyway, but they service us, and I want to make sure that we, somehow in some way, know that they are appreciated. So if this is an opportunity right now to say that, I appreciate all of the services that they give us. We have not just United Services, we also have NAMI, we also have SERAC. We have different groups that actually support our town when need be, and you'd love to be able to help and support them, but sometimes you can't.
Now, after we pass this budget, a month or two after, is the American Legion going to come asking for an increase? Or have we reached out to them already?
Well, we're going to ask them again for their annual budget. We'd like to see that. What we were given was not the full annual budget, was just a number. So we'd like to get that so that we can add that into your packet.
Do they
Just
file
all
that
the
watch their audit with the clerk's office? They have an audit, right?
They
They
have to.
file it with the clerk's office?
They have to. They have to have an audit.
Yeah, I know, I'm just wondering if
What
it's filed
filed
with the
with the
town
I don't
clerk.
think it's filed with the town.
Because I know the fire district does.
Yeah, the fire
Fire
districts have
district,
to. I don't know
I can get a copy of the audit.
what.
I will request it. Budget and audit.
All right, do we have any other questions for Select?
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
If there are no other questions or comments, appreciate, we can look for a motion that would accept the presentation from all department heads. All right, we have a motion made by Lynn to accept the presentation by the departments and seconded by Linda. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? At this time, I will now wait for a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, this is not public comment today?
No, not tonight. Next week, there'll be opportunity.
Oh, there'll be plenty.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, made by Sean, seconded by Lynn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? You opposed? Right.